Who am I? Nobody's born a warrior. You choose to be one when you refuse to stay seated. You choose to be one when you refuse to back down. You choose to be one when you stand up after getting the crap kicked out of you when you're knocked down. You choose to be one because if not you, then who? I ask you.
There are certain people that come into your life that have a deep and profound impact on the trajectory and growth of you as an individual. That man was Charlie Kramer, and he came into my life in 9th grade. He's my wrestling coach. Coach Kramer changed my life, and if it wasn't for him, I don't know where I'd be. He came in at a time and a point in my life when I needed it the most, and I can never repay him. But my story isn't unique. It's not special. There are thousands of other individuals who had the same interaction, and Coach Kramer had the same impact on them. Recently, I reconnected with Coach Kramer and asked him to come down to Atlanta and speak at the MENfluential Conference 2019. I wanted him to see the collateral beauty that has resulted from his love, compassion, and kindness that he showed one scared, lost 15-year-old boy a long time ago. And today, I'd like to share Coach Kramer's message with you in order to be inspired, uplifted, and hopefully encouraged. Without any further ado, I give you Coach Kramer.
Aaron, thank you very much for the intro. It's truly humbling to be here in front of you guys. When I look at the speakers, I look at the potential in the room. Not only is it enlightening, not only is it informative, but it's engaging. And I get from you guys that you truly like each other and you truly want to be here. So to me, that's half the battle. That's half the battle in life. Again, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate the opportunity. What I want to talk to you about is I want to ask you to think back in your brain for a minute. And I want you to try to come up with, what is success? What is it? I want you to think to yourself, is it me wanting to do my best? Is it the self-satisfaction of knowing that I put the effort forth to be my best? What is success? I don't know. I'm asking you. I'm hoping that throughout this speech, that I'm going to give you the power to think about it, come up with your own definition, and try to decide what you think is important to you. For me, as a teacher, as a coach, my realm is athletics. That's my expertise. So I attribute everything to athletics. Athletics is it's a lifetime in a game. It's a lifetime in a season. And there's the ebb and the flow. The stuff you can learn from an athletic event is incredible. But when I finish and I give you the attributes and I give you the characteristics of what it takes to be successful in athletics, I want you to say to yourself, can I apply that to whatever I do? An example. NCAA, governing body of collegiate athletics. There's 8 million kids that play sports in high school. If you don't think that's a subculture, you're truly mistaken. If you don't recognize that as a subculture, you're out of it. Only 480,000 move on to the college level. If you're a math guy, that's 6%. Out of that 480,000, 2%, you might not believe this, but 2% get money. So if somebody says to you, my kid's getting a full ride, just shake your head and say, how you doing? Out of that percentage, 480,000 again, only 2% make pro. So I ask you, as a parent, as a coach, as a teacher, am I a failure if I don't play college ball? Am I a failure if I didn't get a scholarship? Am I a failure because I didn't play pro sports? Am I? Again, point to ponder. Success to me and to you is a very personal and individualistic type of thinking. Again, is it about doing my best? Do I want to be the best? What is the best? I don't know. You tell me. What's good for me might not be good for you. What's good for the guy next to you might not be good for me. Again, this is the self-satisfaction of knowing, man, I gave it a shot. I tried as hard as I could. I did everything I could. I'm okay with where I'm at. Is that success? I don't know. That was me in high school. Kidding. I spent 40 years as an educator. I spent 22 years as a teacher, 18 years as a building principal. I coached for 35 years, high school, middle school, club. I was a college head coach. I coached men, women, girls, boys. I was one of those idiots in school, maybe you know them, and this is a different generation, so you might not understand. But I was one of those idiots in school that I knew exactly what I wanted to do when I was in high school. When I was in high school, I wanted to A, have an impact, B, I loved working with kids, and C, I wanted to give something back. I knew that in high school, and I followed that path. I never looked back. I have yet to have a regret. This is what I wanted to do. This is me. This is who I am. And I can tell you this, I have loved every minute of it. Up until I retired, I was still excited to go to work. I was still excited to coach, and I was still coaching, even up until the time I retired at 66. So if you can do that, to me, that's success. I don't know. I'm just giving you my perspective. When I first started coaching, I got out of high school, got out of college, and I knew I wanted to coach. The first person I came across on television was a man by the name of Eddie Robinson. Eddie Robinson was the head football coach at Grambling University. And at the time, he was about to retire. I don't know off the top of my head. Somewhere in the 80s, maybe the late 70s, I don't remember. And they had him on camera, and they said, Coach, best team ever. 19-something, you were 12-0. I don't know. Coach, how about this season? You were 11-0, you won a bowl game. I have no idea. Coach, how about this year? You sent 5 guys to the pros, #1 draft, NFL. I don't know. Coach, how can you not know? Come on, man. He looked at me, he said, you listen to me. Give me 20 years. And when I look at my kids and I find the good father, the good parent, the good husband, got a great job. I don't care what he does. Great job. Gives something back to the community. Has compassion, has empathy, and lives life with passion. Then I'll tell you my best team. But I won't know for 20 years. I won't know for 20 years. That stuck with me. So I began coaching, and I used to send a letter home to parents. And I would say to the parents, listen to me. If you want your kid to be a state champion wrestler and come from a wrestling factory, then you need to go to school up the street. If you want your kid to learn about life, and the classroom that we're going to teach them in is the wrestling room and the wrestling mat, then you send them to us. And I'm going to tell you, you'll be okay if you send them to us. But make sure you know what you're doing. Come for the right reasons. John Wooden, his philosophy was in terms of action, and he was a famous coach for UCLA. He believed that success was an attitude. It's what you think. It's what you believe. If you ever Google him, he's back in the 80s, maybe late 70s. He has that pyramid of success. But it's an attitude. Success is an attitude, which goes back to helping you formulate what the definition of attitude is. To me, mindset has everything to do with it. Carol Dweck, professor of psychology, Stanford University, came up with a book called Growth Mindset. And her growth mindset is the new psychology for success. You either have a growth mindset or a fixed mindset. Fixed mindset means, you know what? It happened to me, yada, yada. I fell down the street. I broke my leg. What are you going to do? I have a limp the rest of my life. A growth mindset says, yeah, I get that. But you know what? That's the starting point for development, for me to get better. Not only that, but when you look at that situation, we have basic qualities that need to be cultivated through effort. So because I fell down, here's my plan. So you either have a growth mindset where you're open, or you have a fixed mindset, woe is me, what are you going to do? Good book, if you ever get a chance to read it. Work hard, good things happen. In our practice room, 1 million signs, but 3 or 4 lasted the test of time. This was one of them. And I got to put props up. That's Brandon from the Eagles. I had to put a prop in there for the Eagles. One of the things that we taught when you come to my practice room, I would say, fellas, we're going 6 days a week. Coach, it's Philadelphia. It snows. Stop. You didn't hear me. 6 days a week. Coach, we have a match 2 days a week. Stop. You didn't hear me. We practice 6 days a week. If it snows, I'll be around in a van. I'll pick you up. We're practicing. Because the good teams practice every day, and we're going to practice every day. Before a wrestling match, the usual philosophy used to be, you come, matches at 7 o'clock, weigh-ins are at 4:30, you weigh in, you get on the bus, yada, yada. No. We show up at 2:30, we work till 4, we drill till 4, we work out till 4, we go over tendencies till 4, we do our homework. Then we weigh in. I'm going to go back 6 days a week. All right, Coach, I got it. No excuses. We go 6 days a week. We also had a club after practice called the 6-minute club, meaning after practice is over, you're mine again. And the first couple times I did it, guys, I don't want to do it. No, you're doing it. As the weeks went on, how come you picked him and not me? I didn't pick anybody. You want to come? Yeah, I want to come. As they bought into the system, everybody was there, and that was part of practice. And that was the extra work after practice was over, after you sweated off 10 pounds. Now we work again. Just throwing it out to you. Pablo Picasso, great artist, said, action is the catalyst for success. I believe that. I truly believe that. 95% of the people do not reach success, whatever that is, because they're not willing to put the time in and do the work that they have to do to get there. They just quit. You know what? It's too hard. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I'm good. I'll sleep in today. Well, in our program, that's not going to be on my watch. That's not going to happen. We're here to do work. We're here to do our homework, and we're here to make it a success. To me, the forefront of success grows mindset and discipline. And even yesterday, AJ, when he spoke, touched on discipline, how important discipline is to success. You don't have discipline, you really don't have success. Which brings me to another sign that used to hang in a room that I absolutely love, and maybe some of you know this. African morning. African morning. Gazelle wakes up, looks around. The gazelle knows in order to live and survive, has to outrun the fastest lion. If he doesn't, he's breakfast. Lion wakes up. King of the jungle wakes up, looks around, says, I'm hungry. If I want to eat, I got to be able to outrun the slowest gazelle. King of the jungle. Either way, no matter who you are, whether you're the king of the jungle, beast of all beasts, or you're a gazelle, when that sun comes up, you better be running. And you better be running now. Otherwise, you're not going to eat. Otherwise, you won't be around for the next day. So when that sun comes up, you better be running. With that being said, you got to run hard and run fast. Don't just run. When you put your time in, I want 120%. And you should expect it of yourself. That's what you want. Put the demands on you. You want that from yourself. Because if you push yourself, that develops mental toughness. Another one of my heroes. I'm from Philly. How can I not bring up Rock? How could I not? Every champion was a contender who refused to quit. When you're wrestling or playing any sport, the guy you don't want to see is the guy that refuses to quit. Just like if you watch the movie, and I'm a big fan of Rocky 1. Not a real big fan of the rest, but Rocky 1. At the end of that fight, he goes to Apollo. You want a rematch? Apollo says, man, no way. I don't want nothing to do with you. I'm barely alive standing here. You took me to my limit. That's my point. That's exactly my point. The guy that refuses to quit is the scariest competitor. You're going to fail. Figure it out right now. Just get it off the table. Just say to yourself, it's going to happen. I'm going to fail. Winston Churchill said, you know what? Failure or success is not final. Failure is not final. It's that courage to move forward, which is what is to be commended. Denzel Washington talks about great successes come from great failures. Dream big, fail big, succeed big. You gotta have those hurdles. That's what builds character. That's what tells us who we are, and that's what builds mental toughness. Don't say, why me? Stand there in your best Philly accent and say, go ahead, try me. You want a piece of this? Try me. Don't be complaining about why me. Try me. Is that the way you want to play? You want to play? I'll play. Try me. Rock again. One of his great motivational speeches, I don't know what it was, Rock 5, Rock 6, I don't know what it was. He talks about nothing will hit you harder than life itself. Nothing. It's going to bring you to your knees. And I quote that. But it's what you do about it after you get hit. When you pull yourself back up and you move forward. You move forward. Get back up and move forward. It's part of failing. It's part of life. Everybody has to go through it. Another saying in the practice room. Life ain't easy, man. Don't expect it to be. It's not. If you think that it is, talk to anybody in this room. Everybody in this room has a story. All of us, and I don't want to be religious when I say this, but all of us have a cross that we bear. And what's important to me or what my cross is different than yours. But it's still stuff that we have to deal with. It's still stuff that we might have failed at. And it's still stuff that we have to get back up on our feet and move forward for. Characteristics and personalities of great athletes. I look at that self-control. I look at that self-confidence. I look at things, that inner drive, that inner desire to succeed. I look at things, self-discipline. I look at always optimistic. Always. I look at things not afraid to lose. I look at things positive talk. I look at things, I'm able to balance emotions with anxiety. And I mentally image what I'm going to do. Some of my wrestlers will tell you, right before we break from our practice session to go out to a meet, we all lay on the floor, turn the lights out, and I walk them through. All right, that whistle blows. You get in your stance. You circle out, continually circle out. Hands are out. Face is right in his belly button, and you're moving. He shoots. What's your first counter? What's your first block? I shoot. I drive through. I go into a high crotch. Boom! Two. Say it to yourself, and I say it slowly. We mentally image the whole match so that they're prepared. I shoot him for the high crotch. He posts back, leg back. What do? I knee walk, hit the other side. Put him in that situation. The more they practice the image, the more it becomes reaction on the mat. If you react, you're going to win. If you have to think about it, you're done. You've got to react. You've got to know exactly what to do. That comes from mental imagery. Perseverance. Look at this kid. Really? On the left, he was born with a femur one-third the size of his other leg. 1/3. First pair of shoes. 5-inch shoe lift at 1 year old. Always wanted to play basketball. Went through 5 life-changing surgeries. 5. I might even be wrong. It might be 6. Took a year out of his life each time with therapy. There he is on the right, playing high school basketball. Really? That's a pretty big cross to carry. Would not be denied. Wouldn't be denied. You need perseverance. Motivation. Got to have motivation. I'm going to be honest with you. The sayings that I live by, some days a bear gets you, some days you get the bear. And some days you wake up and that bear's looking right at you smiling. And you know you're in for a long day. Either you rule the day or the day rules you. When you talk about motivation, it can come in a million forms. Aaron Marino, tough competitor. Would not lose. There's his career record in 3 years. 77, 17, and 1. Pretty impressive. But I got to tell you, motivation. Our normal procedure, we rough them up, we get them in the back. Aaron, you know what you're doing? Yeah, you ready to go? Come on, man, it's the match of your life. This is what people pay money for. The lights are on, the ref's here. Come on, baby, this is it. Those shoes tied tight, headgear's on tight. Come on, let's go get them. Go out there and have, Coach. What? I'm in the middle. You're about to run out there. Coach, you know, though, I mean, you really know that I don't like wrestling, right? He's like a senior. All right, you got, I'm sorry, what'd you say? Coach, I just don't like the sport. You're about there to wrestle the match of your life. Get out. Coach, I just want to let you know, why do you do it for? Why do you sweat? Why do you cut weight? Why do you lift weights? Why do you come out here? Why do you lay it on the line? You got funny shoes. You got a singlet that shows every corner of your body. You got funny headgear. You're out there by yourself. When you come off the mat, the first thing I say to you is you either did or you didn't. I don't want excuses. Everybody sees you. You can't hide in a football uniform. You can't run up and down the court. You're right there, center stage. Everybody sees you. So look, the only reason why I do it is I think chicks dig it. Now, I'm about to send him out to a match. I double take. What? He said, well, I wrestle because I think girls like wrestlers. We can't continue to have this conversation. Excuse me. Get out there and wrestle. Great kid. Highly motivated. In terms of skill-wise, wasn't our most skilled wrestler. But I do want to tell you, nobody tougher, nobody more motivated, nobody persevered more, nobody wanted to win more. Very athletic, very strong. He would come off the mat sometimes and I'd say, what move was that? He said, I had to do something to pin him. See, that's not even a move. Come on, at least make me look good and tell me something that I taught you. But that's the kind of kid he was. Hard-nosed, not willing to succumb, not willing to quit. That's who he was. And now look at this today. Look what you have here. 2 things to keep in mind as we tell our kids in wrestling. You're either moving forward or you're moving backwards. You're never, ever staying the same. So you got to decide where you're going. If one of my favorite movies is Shawshank Redemption, Morgan Freeman says, either get busy living or get busy dying. That's your only choices. 2 things. Move forward. It's the only way to go. Last thing I would say to a kid when he gets down on the mat, find a way to win. Right there. I don't know where he is. Right there. 77 times he found a way to win. Find a way. Even when it's looking the bleakest, don't quit. Don't give up. Find a way. Find a way to get it done. Find a way to do your job. Find a way to get your workouts in. As I always say, you either want to do it or you don't. It's up to me. It's up to you. And when I say that, I talk about baseball, I want you to swing the bat. My point is, I don't want you to stand up there and take pitches and strike out. What did you do? There was no effort in that. No effort at all. Swing the bat. I don't care if you missed all 3 times. You showed me the effort. You gave it a shot. You cannot hit the ball unless you swing the bat. So when you're up, swing the bat. Go down trying. It's about the will to be the best. If you have the will, then you got to pay the man. Pay the man, coined by Josh Bridges, CrossFit athlete, and he talks about it every day. I got to pay the man. Paying the man is putting the work in. Paying the man is doing your homework. Paying the man is getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning and going through the exercise regime and going through what you have to do to prepare for the day. Because if you want to go here, then you got to pay the man. We would always say to the kids, you can't dance if you don't pay the piper. You want to dance? You better pay the piper. Get your money out, pay the piper. You ain't dancing. A little bit of trivia. I'm a Philly guy through and through. Phillies, Eagles, you name it. Since I've been like 5, closet Red Sox fan. Have always been a Red Sox fan. Love Fenway. Love Fenway. Love everything about him. Alex Cora, another characteristic. The new coach. 1 year he's coach. Takes him to the world championship. Number one reason he talks about. Connected with my players. What's today? You're connecting. You got to have the social skills in athletics. You got to be able to talk to people. You got to be able to talk to your coach. You got to be able to talk to your trainer. You got to be able to talk to the media. You got to have social skills. You got to be able to connect with people. You can't connect, I don't know how you can be a success, in all honesty. I don't know how you can do it. Second picture is all about empathy. You got to have empathy. You got to put your feet in somebody else's shoes. You got to be able to feel for somebody else. You have to have empathy. In my eyes, you have to give something back. Martin Luther King talks about the only question of extreme importance that we have to talk about right now is, what are you doing for others? What are you doing for your neighbor? Because if you're not doing anything, we're really not talking. Denzel Washington talks about, you make it and you're a success, the first thing you want to do, reach back and pull some people up with you. Bring them along. That's your job. If you're a success, that's your job. If you're my best wrestler, you're Aaron Marino, I have you working with the younger kids. Pull them up. You've made it. Pull them up. Pull people up with you. 4 characteristics. Passionate, fearless, relentless, resilient. When I say fearless, what's our biggest fear? Ourselves. That's our biggest fear. We're afraid of ourselves. Sometimes we're afraid of what we could be if we try. Fear. Be fearless. Attack your goals like your life depends on it. Attack your workouts like your life depends on it. When you meet people and you leave, what if you never see them again? Leave that impression. Connect with them. Successful athletes, they have that empathetic piece. They have that inner drive. Failures are challenges. They're motivated by other people's success. They don't trash talk them. Whoa, that worked for you? Whoa, man, I like that. Can I try that? I continually tell my kids, somebody does something to you on that mat that you really like, ask them about it. Ask them to teach you. That should help motivate you. Don't make excuses. Again, why me? No. Try me. Right now, everybody here, how tough are you? You have within you right now everything you need to deal with whatever the world can throw at you. You got it. You have it. You just can't find it, or you're afraid of it. And remember, our biggest fear, ourselves. Fear and courage. Cancer. Another crutch for me. Diagnosed with cancer 6 years ago. 2 years after that, 4 years ago, stage 4. And my wife hears all the crap when I'm kicking the trash can at home and slamming and stuff and ticked off. But when I go out into the public, try me. You think you can beat me, cancer? I'm right here. I'm standing right here. Come on, give it a shot. Give me your best shot. What I like about this picture, it didn't bring me to my knees, brought me to my feet. What you did is you ticked me off. Don't do that. Who believes in you? Appreciate who they are. That's my wife. Be able to say to people, I love you. The other night, I don't know where, we're in a restaurant. As we left, I said, Aaron, you know I love you, right? She said, yeah, I do. So I'm going to tell you right now, Aaron, Brian, Terry, love you guys. I do. You guys are great guys. I love you. I tell my teachers, I'll grab a teacher, you know, I love you. I'm behind you. I'm with you. I love you. My wife would always joke with me. I had an assistant principal that worked with me. It was about 6'4", African-American guy, played defensive back for Penn State. Monster of a guy. When I got sick, he called me on the phone. My wife happened to overhear, and he said, hey, man, Chuck, and he would always say, Chucky. He had this North Carolina accent, Chucky. I love you, man. My wife said, who are these people that say they love you? I said, it's not like I'm getting married to them, but I do love them. I want you to know how I feel about you, just in case something happens between today and tomorrow. Excuse me. And the bottom line, the real bottom line, I don't need reciprocation. I just want you to know how I feel. And I'm telling you right now, I love you. Bottom line, it's about family. My wife's going to cringe when I do this bit. It's about family. Who am I? Nobody's born a warrior. You choose to be one when you refuse to stay seated. You choose to be one when you refuse to back down. You choose to be one when you stand up after getting the crap kicked out of you when you're knocked down. You choose to be one because if not you, then who? I ask you. We've talked about it. I ask you. Is athletics any different than life? The traits I gave you, for the people that thought, oh, he's going to talk about sports. You know, I'm a band person. I'm a theater person. There's nothing wrong with that. I tell people as long as you're involved, doesn't make a difference. But the characteristics tell me they're not the same. The motivation, the perseverance, the passion, the compassion, tell me they're not the same. So again, I ask you, are the traits really different? I don't know. We all come from different nationalities. We all come from different ethnicities. We're black, we're white, we're whatever, green, whatever color you want to be. It doesn't make a difference. These are the traits you need. It's all the same. We all have a cross to carry, and it's our job to overcome it and to be the success that we need to be. With that, I'm humbled to be here. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for listening.